Hello, ticking along here, and I was just going to make a video today about two articles I read, one from Vice, the other from Wired. I actually was made aware of these articles by another Tourette's YouTuber, and so let's just get into it. The first one I'm going to give my opinion on is the one from Vice, which I didn't think was as bad. But I got a few paragraphs out of it that I just kind of want to touch on. And the kind of the whole idea of these articles are that TikTok has they're claiming that TikTok has created or given people Tourette's or has played into people getting Tourette's or something to that effect. So the one in Vice was not as pushy on that as the other one, but they both kind of were trying to say that. So the one in Vice says one of the paragraphs was these girls are a handful of many female adolescents in the UK who have developed tic disorders like Tourette's. And I'm glad that it says tic disorders like Tourette's and not just Tourette's, because just because you have Tourette's doesn't mean that or just because you have tics doesn't mean that you have Tourette's. And further on they get into that, the reason why they said tic disorders like Tourette's. So who have developed tic disorders like Tourette's during the pandemic. Conditions that are categorized by repetitive and involuntary movements and sounds, which are tics. It then goes on to say in another paragraph, so far anxiety has been deemed the root cause of the sharp flurry of unintentional twitching, shouting, hitting, and collapsing among teen girls. So both of these articles are stressing that there is a higher percentage of teen girls. I think they're both UK based, but teen girls in the UK who are getting diagnosed or who are going to clinicians because of tics. And so it doesn't. Neither one mentions males. They both are focusing on females, which I find a bit odd. But they are saying that this one says, they've found, the Vice article has found, or the people they were talking about in the Vice article has found that the anxiety is one of the causes to these tics, which anxiety tics are a thing. When you have high stress levels or high anxiety, it can cause some people to have tics. But just because you have anxiety tics does not mean that you have Tourette's. They're two separate things. Just because you have anxiety tics does not mean you have a does not mean you have one of the other two main tic disorders. Anxiety tics are a symptom of anxiety. So I'm glad that they specified in that first paragraph or that I read that was tic-like disorders. So an anxiety tic disorder or type deal is what they are saying these girls seem to have. This is distinct separate from mass hysteria. So the Wired article was completely separate or completely opposite to this article here, and this is saying this is distinct separate from mass hysteria, a phenomenon which means twitching, fainting, and hallucinations caught on in a distress groups, and mass hysteria, like they refer to like the dancing mass hysterias that have happened in the past, where just a group of people just started dancing and couldn't stop. And so that's a phenomenon that has happened. It's been recorded. But they're saying the Vice article is saying that this is not that. And then so overall, the Vice article I didn't have too much problem with. I did find it odd that they are distinctly referring to girls rather than guys as well. It seems like girls don't have as much. They're not taken as seriously when it comes to tic disorders and really a lot of medical stuff in general. It seems that they're not taken as seriously on. And then the Wired article is the one I had more problems with. So let's get into that one. The here's the first paragraph I had problems with. The physicians cautioned there is some concern that social media websites such as TikTok that promote the sharing of videos of influencers with symptoms may have a part to play. Others researching Tourette's and tics responded, saying that we could be seeing a 21st century equivalent of the Middle Ages dancing mania. When people began suffering from attacks of spontaneous dancing, which has little cause. And I'm like, the idea that they are just accusing people who come out with saying, oh, they're saying all these people that are coming out with saying that they have tics or Tourette's, who are coming from realizing it through TikTok, are just they just have a mania. It's caused by seeing others with this, and that's I don't think that we should be assuming that. It just no. It, there could be a psychological part to some of the people with tics, but the majority wise, I would say, are neurological. In that, that's the definition of Tourette's. It's a neurological disorder. It's not a psychological disorder. So yeah. And noting that the other article said that this is distinctly separate from mass hysteria. So, these are two distinct perspectives. Suggestibility could be one root cause, says Utom, who works in an NHS community clinic focused on tics and Tourette's in Bedfordshire. Don't come at me. His clinic has seen an increase in the number of referrals of teenage girls, usually given Tourette's, unusually given. Oh, sorry. Has seen an increase in referrals of Tourette's of teenage girls. Unusual given that Tourette's usually affects boys and usually presents at an early age of 5 or 6 rather than 14 or 15. These girls who are presenting did not have a family history of tics, so there's something different about this group. But the thing is, like autism, girls and guys don't get diagnosed to the same levels. And girls are, underdiagnosed for autism because of their ability to conceal it. And maybe that could be the case with Tourette's as well. And it's not like girls aren't diagnosed with Tourette's. It's not like it's a distinctly guy disorder. Because many, or syndrome or whatever, but it's there are many girls who have it, and to say, oh, at this point we are having an influx in people who are coming forward with it, whether that be because they were underdiagnosed before or because they're now being diagnosed with it, or now developing it, or we haven't been able to see that. But to say that it usually affects boys is miscommunicating really, because um, it doesn't just usually affect boys. It affects girls and boys. Boys typically it has affected to a higher extent. And then when it says it usually presents at an early age of 5 or 6, I was thinking it was more typical to see it at like, 7 to 9 ish age group. So they're saying even younger than I was thinking. Mine really didn't start to develop until I was in my late teens. Although I can see that it was there before, but it really didn't take, form until my late teens. So, to see 14 or 15-year-olds, that doesn't seem that uncommon. Um, and it's really not to get diagnosed at 14, 15. It's really not that uncommon. Um, so there there is a sense of resurgence, then you do then you do wonder if it's providing the psychological end. Experts and clinicians know there's suggestibility. If a patient in a room, if there's a patient in a room and you say, do you have a tic in your head or neck? Sooner or later they'll tic. So there is a suggestibility in tics. If you talk about them, they'll happen more. If you see someone else doing it, it can cause you to tic. There is some sort of suggestibility in Tourette's tics. We're not disagreeing with that. But you would only be suggestible if you had Tourette's in the first place or a tic disorder in the first place. Where was I? It's similar, he says, to the temptation many of us feel to blurt out an objection at a wedding when asked by the minister if there's any reason why these two people should not be married. No, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. It's not the same at all. I don't know why he would say it's the same. I understand the feeling he's trying to convey. I understand when you're in a situation and you see, oh, is there any reason why these two shouldn't wed? And you want to say something just to say it, or you have a feeling to say something, but it's not a conduct disorder. It's not a disorder of not having willpower to resist. That again, I don't know where this guy is getting his, and maybe he just doesn't understand how to convey it, and maybe it's just a bad analogy, but it's a bad analogy. But like, no, it's not like that. It's better akin to trying to not blink or holding a sneeze, but even those don't quite get it. But just the it's not it's for him to say that it's like trying to hold back from saying something in a social situation. No, it's not. Please no. No. That really got me. Okay. If they see something, it's very easy to copy. There's a suggestibility watching these videos could be making people copy it as well. Which, if you already have Tourette's or a tic disorder, you are likely to pick up other people's tics. That is known. That's a known phenomena. It happens. So but it's not. You're not going to pick it up if you don't already have a tic disorder or Tourette's or something like that. Okay. Dobson of Tourette's Action, a UK charity that supports those who have Tourette's and funds research into it, agrees, but she questions whether the immediate feedback of social media is actually inclinating new tics, uh, or if it's just encouraging people to do more, to be more open about their existing ones. So they're straining less to tamp to resist, and push them back. Young women film themselves doing their tics and post them on TikTok and say, "What's happening to me?" People say maybe it's Tourette's, but they get a lot of likes and they gather followers, and so their tics become more extreme, and they post. And the more they post, the more they look for reassurance from their peer group, and the more negative feedback. The negative feedback loop perpetuates. She is saying that she doesn't know if the social media is creating more tics or if it's just allowing people to be more open. And so there's that. I think it's more for the vast majority, people are being more open. But I'm sure there are some people that if you are watching these videos, you could cause yourself to have more tics. But in the same, and we all know, all of us with Tourette's and stuff know that risk. And so you have to weigh it as far as how much are you willing to, have more tics or be willing to take on new tics versus feeling alone, like there's no one else and someone you can't relate to. And having someone to relate to is very important. So but then she's saying like there's this negative feedback loop saying, hey, people, get on TikTok and they say, what's going on with me? Well, what's happening? People say, oh, it's Tourette's, and they're like, oh, okay, and then they run with it like that's causing them to have Tourette's, and that's the way I'm reading it. And I'll put the description, the link to the articles in the description so you can look at it. But yeah, I don't know what exactly she was trying to say there, but it seems like she was saying that making these videos and stuff are causing them to be way worse than they are, and I don't see them being way worse. Slightly, possibly, it could it could create some problems, but then again, not knowing and not having someone to relate to can also cause more angst and anxiety and stuff like that. So there's trade-offs. And then it goes on to say it's impossible to pin the blame on social media. One of the main causes for Tourette's is believed to be anxiety. No, no, no. Anxiety does not cause Tourette's. Anxiety can make your tics worse, but it does not cause Tourette's. Tourette's is it's not something that you get because of anxiety. It's something you have and it can be triggered by anxiety, but not created by. So that no, maybe that was a miscommunication there, but that's way off. And we're not exactly living in normal times right now. Tourette's is a functional illness, and its purpose. It has a purpose, which might be to release anxiety or let off steam. I don't think so. And we don't know a ton on Tourette's. But for them to say, oh, Tourette's is a functional illness. It has a function. It's there to let off steam. It's there for you to release anxiety and all this stuff. But then why is it that when I'm going about my normal day no problems at all, I still have tics. And I can still get tic attacks for no reason at all. Yeah, I don't think so. No. I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I'm sure some would disagree with me on that, but for the most part, I wouldn't say it's a functional illness in that it has a purpose to let off steam, anxiety, and all that. Now, yeah, no. Had those already anxious teenagers worried about the spread of the pandemic, not seeing people with Tourette's on TikToks, their anxiety may have manifest itself differently, potentially more damaging way. So this goes back to anxiety tics, and this article is not differentiating the difference between tics and Tourette's, and differentiating between anxiety tics and Tourette's, which are treated two vastly different ways. Anxiety tics, the what you have to treat is anxiety. So that's not necessarily really what you want to treat for just normal Tourette's. So yeah, could these girls be experiencing anxiety tics? That could be the case. But to say that they're catching Tourette's from TikTok, that just doesn't make sense to me. And then here's the last paragraph. No one can say for sure whether TikTok is the chicken or the egg in this situation. There may be a cohort of people who are very suggestible. In the same way, there was hysteria in many different centuries. There's outbreaks of tics. We don't know enough, and I'm not saying this is hysterical or made up. Like hysterical things are made up. No, just because it's in your head does not make it less real. So yeah, I will always keep an open mind on it. But see, this I I was a lot more comfortable with the Vice article, although there was a few things in that where I think things were miscommunicated. The Wired article with so much in there, so far off. I don't think that it was just a miscommunication. I really think that it's just wrong. Um, but those are my thoughts on these two articles. I'll link a video in the description of the original video that I saw that brought to my attention these articles, along with the two articles. So if you want to see more videos from me, I have a series of other ones. I don't know how reliable my first 2 or 3 videos were, so be sure to do your research on it. Even these videos I make now, double check what I say. I'm just some random guy who experiences Tourette's. I'm not. I'm relatively well studied, but I'm not. I don't have a degree or any outside experience of it. But I will put a link in the description for those videos, the video, the articles. Please subscribe if you want to watch more videos, and thank you for watching. Bye.